Today we're going to make some fun Halloween decor DIYs. Keep watching. I'm Brandy, and this is Making It My Own DIYs. Welcome. I want to say thank you to Essential Stencil, who is sponsoring today's creations, and we're having a giveaway, so stick around for details later. All right, so got some items from Essential Stencil. Contact over there had some goodies, and I jumped all over the Halloween because, I love Halloween and fall. So these are the goodies I got. It is packaged very well, not crammed up and wrinkled up like some stencils you might buy. They're thick. They are individually wrapped in their packages. They have a black backing, which, by the way, you can use again for something else, which I always do. I don't throw those away. And then I have a variety of stencils, big ones and small ones, some that you can do rounds with, and then I also have some transfers. Look at this beauty. Oh, it's so detailed. I love it. And then look how adorable. Now, y'all know I'm not the biggest gnome fan, but I have to say, I love this pack, and I will be definitely doing some gnome Halloween because I love these. And look at the little haunted house. There's so many different crafts you can do with this one pack. So these are the ones we're going to be using for today's video. All right. Now in this little stencil package, there are 3. So I'm just going to choose one, and I think I'm going to do the cat in this one. I got a lot of cat lovers in our subscribers and in our comment section, so this one's for y'all. The packages come with information so that you can see exactly how to do it. They want you to succeed. We crafters want to spend our money in the right way. I'm all about saving money on this channel, but I also believe in quality, and these pieces are true quality. And by the way, I would never share anything with you that I didn't test myself and believe in myself. So no worries when you see a sponsored video on my channel. It's completely safe to watch and to make your own decisions. All right, so with that said, the first project is going to be a cat house mini sign. Now, rather than putting this on the tag, I'm going to use this little arrow sign that comes from Dollar Tree, but we're going to turn it to look like a house. I've already patched the holes with a little bit of lightweight spackle and some tape. Now I'm taking my sanding block and removing all those splinters. It is very important that you protect yourself. I've got some black chalk paint and a variety of paints that I want to use. And I'm going to start by tracing out with black. Now, you can skip this step if you want to. I have just found that when you are blending colors, and we are going to make this kind of an ombre effect, we're going to do like a sunset scene. Yes, we are. I like to have the darker color on the bottom. It just makes the colors richer and darker, and I'm not a professional painter, but that's just my technique. You can do this any way that you prefer. So I'm just going to kind of leave the inside a little bit lighter because it will make, when you paint it, it's just going to be a little bit lighter. All right, now if you wanted to paint the entire thing, you could do that as well. And if you want to use a tag instead, you can use the same technique on a tag rather than using this. You can get tags at Dollar Tree, so you can save your money on those items. Okay, so I've got a variety of flat brushes. These just help me to line up my area so I know where I want to put my paint. Since I want this to look like a nighttime sky, I am going to mimic what I see at my house. We live on a lake, and when I look at the sunset out of my windows, the lighter colors are generally on the bottom and they fade up into a beautiful, dark, colorful sky. So I am going to just start putting these colors on here and just slightly overlapping them, and then we'll blend them out a little bit more on the end. It's not going to be You're not going to have straight lines here. This is not going to be perfectly symmetrical, but you'll get the idea. It just takes a lot of blending, and then you'll get the look that you want. So I'm just going to continue along here. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit so you don't have to see somebody paint. You know how to paint. Now I have just blended this in here. Blended. And you can still see a little bit of a lighter space underneath. I'm going to combine a little bit, and y'all, that was an accident, but hey, it looks good, so I'm going to leave it. I like it. I'm leaving it. Okay, so to me that does look like a sunset, like a nighttime sky. I'm going to make sure that this is very dry before I go on with the next step. And by the way, I have found personally when you sand the surface of wood before you put on any type of stencil, it's going to hold the paint better and it's just going to look nicer. It's going to give you more of a high-end look. Now these stencils that come from Essential Stencil are thick, but they are still flexible and they're still very detailed. So I love them. Love them very much. I've done a collaboration before with Essential Stencil and their products have never let me down. That is my honest opinion. Okay, I'm going to take some of that rich black chalk paint. I'm going to take a small stencil brush because I'm working in a small little area. And I'm just going to make little circles back and forth to follow out the frame that is around this cat. It's almost as though he is looking through a window or sitting in the window. You know how cats like to do. So you're going to go through here and just swirl that in. And now there are different techniques you can also use. The swirling, you can do the little tapping. It's totally up to you which look you like best. And I do suggest that you just practice different ways of doing it to see that you get, finally come to a result that you like the best. But I always like to tell you that there are options and you can certainly make it your own way and do it your own way. So I'm just going to load that brush in, and what it does essentially is to pull it's like the fibers from the end of the brush kind of pull that paint up into them, and then you want to pat it off of the ends. It'll keep flowing down almost like with an ink pen. I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. It's still in there, but you're not getting all that coverage at one time. So I hope that makes sense to you. I like to use that method because I don't have to worry about it bleeding through and making a big mess if I do it that way. I'd rather do several light layers than to just glop it on there and it seeps through and bleeds through, because I'm not sealing this. I didn't go around and seal anything, but I think you will agree that the result is really, really nice. Look at that little sunset behind the kitty. He's a cutie. You could also do this process in reverse if you wanted to. And then the cat would be, in the sunset, and it would be black all around it. Now I'm going to go over the entire thing. Every bit of this will be in that black. And then we can take our tape off. And I just put the tape on there to keep the stencil from shifting because it is not the type that will stick to your surface. So you're going to have to secure it down with something. And the painter's tape from Dollar Tree works fine for me. So now what I have in my hand is called a bridge brush, and you use this to cover in all the little connecting spots on a stencil. They have to have something to hold them in place, so they have these little thin lines all the way around. What I'm doing is looking for those right now and then just filling those in with the same black ink. Well, not black ink, it's rich black. I can't find ink. Did they not make it anymore? I'm not sure. Okay, so now I'm just going to go back over here on my spider web because again, this is very detailed, so there are gaps in between where it is connected, and I'm just going to go over and fill in all of those gaps. This is a personal choice. I like to do it this way. I think it gives it a better, more connected look, but it's totally up to you. If you want to leave that to make it look like it's, a stamp or something, you can certainly leave it that way. Whatever you like. If you wanted to switch that up and put your spider web in white, you could do that. Make it your own. And he's so cute. So before the next step, I'm going to dry it. I'm going to use a little bit of this slick paint to put on the kitty cat. I'm also going to put it on the spider web. In between, well, let me just tell you first about this paint. Just like the puff paint that we used to have when we were kids, be sure that you shake it, and you shake it down to the bottom of the bottle while the lid is still on it. Then you burp it on a piece of paper. I know that sounds ridiculous, but you have to kind of make sure you don't have a bubble, because if you squeeze a bubble out of that really fine end, it's going to make a bubble in your paint and it's going to mess your fine lines up. So just be sure that you do that. When you notice that the tip is getting a little bit gunky, go ahead and take a paper towel or a wipe, clean that off and keep it nice and clean so you don't mess up your patterns. So that's just a little tip that might help you there. These paints you can find pretty much anywhere at Walmart, any craft store. I like to try to pick these things up when people discard them. They get rid of them and they, donate them to the thrift stores. And the Goodwill bins is my happy place. So that's where I usually get a lot of this type of stuff. All right, so now I'm going to trace out the cat. I'm going to trace around his little whiskers, his tail, every bit of his little body. And you can see the spider web is complete up there. Continue all the way around, and then I'm just going to make little short little streaks in there. I'm kind of flooding this in like you would when you make a cookie that has the royal icing on the top. I'm kind of doing that here. It's going to give some texture to that cat that's going to catch the light, almost as if the cat has hair. So just little short lines all over, just kind of pulling it through there and making it where the entire thing is covered. You can leave a little open spot for the eyes, which is what I initially did when I thought I was going to paint the eyes, but I'm going to do something a little different. Look at the texture that gives. See, stencils do not have to be flat. You don't have to just use paint. You can go back over these, use a stencil as a tool, and then go back over and customize the look for yourself. So easy to do. I'm just taking little tiniest dots of this gold paint pen to make tiny, tiny little eyes for the bats. Look at that. They're glowing in the night. Okay, again, it needs to be thoroughly dried. It takes a little while for this paint to dry too, so just give it some time. I have some embellishment glue here, and I'm going to use that. No worries, it looks ridiculous right now because it's wet, but that dries completely clear, and you're not going to see the mess from the glue. Stay tuned to the end and you'll get to see it completed. All right, the next item is going to be a truck transfer sign. I've got some large popsicle sticks or craft sticks, and then also there are paint stirrers which can be cut down. 2 of these signs from Dollar Tree. You can use any color that you like. White works better for me when I am using a transfer because you can still see all the details. If you were to put the transfer on something black, then the black details and shadows would be gone. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to make a big sign first, and I'm just going to use these popsicle sticks across the back. I've got them lined up. I'm putting a good bit of hot glue here. Use wood glue, use whatever you have to secure yours. And if you have a different method to put yours together, you may certainly do that. You can cut down those craft sticks if you want. I am going to take some craft paper and just lay this down on the craft paper. Grab my glue gun and then add some hot glue underneath. And we're just going to put this paper on the back. This is going to make it nice and neat and covered where you don't see the popsicle sticks. This is something that's important to do if you sell your items. If it's your own and you want to put it on your wall, you can leave it as raggedy as you want to on the back. Okay, because most of mine are, let's just be honest. Okay, so then I'm going to just take the sander and I'm going to sand down what is left on there. I'm going to go over the front and give that a good sand as well because it's a transfer. I want to be sure that it is getting on that surface well. After you sand, wipe it off. Now I'm going to go in with a little bit of that same lightweight spackle, and I'm going to fill in those little holes and let them dry. We already have the paper on the back, so that's going to hold that and keep it from falling through. And I'm going to take my little squeegee and just wipe that off, wipe the excess off. I'll let that dry. I know that I'm using this truck, so to make it easier for myself, I'm going to cut the entire truck out and work from there. I'm going to decide where I want to put it, and then I'll peel it off the paper. I'm just using my ruler here to make sure that I have it fairly straight on the board. I don't want it to be crooked or look like it's going uphill, but flying uphill since it's not on the ground. You know what I mean? Okay, so I'm going to take this handy dandy little tool that comes along when you get your products from Essential Stencil. I'm going to gently put my hand down on it and then hold it in place. It's very important that you hold your stencil down while you are applying it when it's still on its backing because you don't want it to slide or you to get carried away with the process of pressing this down or burnishing this down and then it lifts up. You don't want that kind of trouble. So just hold it in place. Try to keep one hand on it, keep it in place, and go all over all the little details on the truck. I love the colors. This is so pretty, and this could be for fall and Halloween. Wow. you know, if you like that, if you like that look. I certainly do. This is really cute. And I don't even really do truck decor anymore, but this, oh yeah, I love this. All right, now watch this peel like a dream. I'm always scared, so I don't just get gung-ho with it, but I'm gonna peel it off slowly, and it is the most beautiful reveal. Oh my gosh, look at it. I dropped it. Yes. Okay, then I'm going to take that same piece of backing and just rub over the entire thing, just giving it a little more stick-to-itiveness, making it stay down there, okay? Yes, what a beautiful piece of watercolor art. This is stunning, y'all. You can't even imagine until you see it in person. It's so pretty. Then I decided I want to put some bats up here because I really do want this to be more of a Halloween look, so I'm going to add the bats. You can put your trees on here if you have a big enough sign. You can do your haunted house, whatever you want to do. Just so many options. I love that. And they give you so many different themes, you know, that you have so many options. I love it. It really stretches your dollar. By the way, Essential Stencil is an American-owned small family business, and they have wonderful customer service. They keep a check on you through your email, and it's just wonderful. I have not had a bad experience, just my opinion, but I haven't. I'm also going to have in the description box below a discount code for you and the information to all of the products that I'm using today. Okay, so I'm going to think about what I want to do. I know that I want to put some type of a floral or some pumpkins or something on here, right? Well, I gotta get things that we're gonna match. I don't want anything that doesn't look right. So I got a piece of leather over here, and I've got some pumpkins, I've got a little broom, I've got some leaves, of course, I've got tons of greenery for fall because I'm addicted to picking that stuff up when I see it at Goodwill and Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to put this leather down on a piece of cardboard. This is actually the backing of, it was like a photograph or something, but it's really thick cardboard. I'm going to use a squeegee and press it all down so that I don't have any wrinkles. And you can see that even though it looked wrinkled before, you can rub those straight out. So now it's nice and smooth. This maple colored furniture marker matches perfectly. So once I get it trimmed down, I can just go over it with this furniture repair marker, and it will just cover up those edges and make it blend in nicely. We always want to achieve a high-end look without spending a lot of money, right? That's what we're doing here. So I'm going to add some hot glue. And don't worry, the stars will be covered, but if you enjoy the stars, you don't have to do this at all. This is just something extra to give you more ways that you can do this to make it your own. All right, so I've got it down. I want to use this pumpkin on here. This pumpkin came from Walmart last year, and I think it was like 98 cents. I cut it in half. I'm going to use it down here. It's going to be part of a planter. I'm going to roll the little plastic coating over, and then all the places where it peeled off, I'm going to go over it with the furniture repair marker. And it blends in really well with this too. Same color, it's that same maple marker. I'm going to go all around the edges and any part of it that might be seen from the sides. I want to cover that up so you don't see any of that cheapy white foam. I'm going to use some tacky glue in the center. I'm going to go from the top and go down the center, nice and thick, and then I'm going to grab a little bit of glue, put it around the edge. I don't want to mix my glues up necessarily, and I'm going to pretty much center that with my eye and then hold that in place until the hot glue gets a grip. All right, I'm going to spray paint these black, just a little berry pick, and grab some leaves that are going to match. These are scraps. I had these last year. I think I had them actually probably from the year before because I've used them on a lot of things. I pulled those off. I'm going to use black picks from some black flowers that I have used already. So these were already in my stash. And we're going to make new stems for these because they were on a round that goes around a candle. And that's not how we want to use it. We're going to repurpose it. We're going to make it look like something completely different. So I'm going to use this pick. This little stick is a little bit too small in diameter. So I'm just going to add a dot of hot glue, and that's going to help hold that in place so it doesn't slip off. For these little pumpkins that came from Dollar Tree, I'm going to use a variety. Some are the sweater pumpkins and some are just the regular plastic foam pumpkins. I'm going to use a little hot glue and a pick to hold that in place. I like to put mine on like on a curve or on an angle, so they're not just sticking straight up. You can actually see them from the sides. I'm going to start using the pumpkin as my planter, and we'll just start adding in a couple of the picks that we made. And I like those. Those are pretty. And I'll add in my pumpkins. You see what I mean by putting them at a slant? They'll face different directions, and then you have a good look from all sides. Trying to be really careful, and that's something you need to be careful of too, is that you don't go through the foam and stick out the front of your pumpkin. So just be sure you're angling it toward the back when you put it in. I'm going to put that beautiful bronzy stem back in there. I want to make sure that we can still see it. Pretty. I'll put the black all the way almost to the back, but I want it to have a little bit of space there so that there's some shadow. I just think that it looks good considering there's a branch in the back of the truck, and it just mimics kind of the spider web and the branchy flyaway look. What do you think about this one? Look at those little spiders on there. That is so cute. One more thing I can do right here. I'm going to show you what else you can do with these rub-ons. You can put these down on these foam pumpkins. You sure can. I tried it. It works. And I didn't even have to use a squeegee. I just used my fingers. Isn't that bat-tabulous? Yes, it is. All right. Just a burnishing away with my fingernail. And you see that I'm holding this down. I do not want this page to come up until I get done. And you can see it. You know, you can see the color almost changes, and you can see you can lift it up. Love it, love it, love it. Look at the paint on my arm. Always paint on my arm. All right. Look at this little beauty. Now you could use this as a leaner. You could put it by your fireplace if you wanted to, or on your mantle if you wanted to, or you could also use it as a hanging sign. I'm going to do that with a scrap piece of jute, and I'm going to just wind it up, make 3 knots in either end. And I do the knots because it gives it a little something else to hang on to, a little more thickness for the glue to attach to hold it in place where it's not slipping around or coming loose on the back. My friends Trish and Kay over at Crafting Cousins, they do like soda can tops, the little pop tops. That's what they use for hangers on theirs, which I have done before, but it's been a long time. That's a really good tip. Okay, so I'm just going to put them on the back. I'm just showing you how I do it. Little paper on the top, little paper on the bottom, little hot glue. And this is what this little beauty is going to look like. The next project is a happy Halloween pumpkin. All right, y'all, get your drinks out. This is going to take a minute. All right, so these brushes also came from Essential Stencil. They have a whole line of products you can choose from. I'm going to use parchment white, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of orange. Of course, I'm going to need my ruler. I have my beautiful stencil. Oh, so many details. And I got this pumpkin at the thrift store, but I believe you can get these at Michael's. You can definitely get these at Hobby Lobby. May have been Hobby Lobby. Okay, so I'm going to cut the tag off because I won't be using that right now, and it just really honestly gets in the way. This is a raw wood piece. Get your sander, sand it. Nobody wants splinters in our fingers, cuts on our hands, anything that's going to stop us from crafting. When we sit down to craft, we need to make the time, we need to plan, and we need to just do it. Once it is sanded and wiped down, I'm going to take a little bit of this flat heirloom white and just give it a light spray on the top. Just like that. Now I'm going to again take the sander and just go with the side of the sander, the clean part of the sander. I'm going to go all over it lightly to make sure that I get up any little areas that got picked up while it was outside. It might make it not smooth. And we want it nice and smooth. I cannot say it enough. Okay, then be sure you wipe it down with the cloth. I just used my hand, but you get the idea. There you go. This is the right way. All right, then I am going to start using my painter's tape to mark off my areas that I want to paint. If you don't want to paint yours, you don't have to. You certainly don't have to do it this way. You could just use a white background. But I like mine to mimic candy corn, so that's what we're going to do here. If you have a round sign and you don't have a pumpkin this size, then you can always just put this on a round sign. Either way you like to do it is totally fine. As long as it brings you some happiness and joy, you're doing the right thing. All right, now I'm going to press that tape down, and then I'll fold the edges over. Now at this point you could go ahead and seal your edges with the same color paint if you would like. So if you had some white paint you wanted to use there, you could do that. I'm going to go ahead and just put that paint down on my pumpkin, and then I'll grab my brush and start putting on my paint. I'm going to try to seal over the edge as I'm going. I'm using light strokes for this, and ideally you would want to brush away from the seam, because if you do it toward the seam, then you are pushing your glue or your paint underneath the tape, and you do not want to do that. We want a clean, crisp line. So once I get that on there, I can remove the tape while it is still wet. You could definitely do 2 coats of paint if that's what you prefer to do, but I'm just going to do 1. I don't want the paint to dry on my tape and then lift when I pull it off, so that's why I'm doing it this way. All right, I'm going to grab the yellow and put that on the bottom. So white on the top, yellow on the bottom, and orange in the middle. But again, use whatever colors you like. Whatever colors you decide that you like, you can definitely use. You can use the same technique that we used on the cat sign for this if you would like to do that as well. All right, I want to make sure that all of my paint is thoroughly dry before I put the middle section in, and that is going to be orange. Now, I don't worry about the yellow. I'm going to take that off in just a minute. And I am going to start painting this orange. The orange definitely took 2 layers. I could have used orange chalk paint, but hindsight, you know? All right, so rather than putting this on white, I'm going to put this on a colored background, because you don't have to just stencil on white or black. I want to show you how you can make it your own. Now what I'm doing at this point is taking a little bit of tape to secure it down, and I'm going to take a little bit of that tape and go over all the pieces of candy corn, because I don't want any paint to get in those tiny pieces of candy corn. I'm going to take a piece of paper to the side, and the same way as I did before, we're going to go into the black paint. We're going to get a lot of it off, and it'll go up, and you can see how high it goes up into those bristles. And then I'm just going to start on the words, and I'm just going to move in circular pattern. If you have a bunch of tight details like on this particular one, feel free to take your tape and tape over everything you need to if you're worried that you're going to make a mess. You can do this, just do it to whatever degree you need to do it. Okay? It may take a little more time, but I promise you, making something your own and giving it a little extra detail that nobody else has done is going to make yours very special. Okay, so I'm going to continue along, and you can see how I'm doing it, and I'll say it again. You want to start light, and then if you need to build your color up, you can still see. I can still see through there if there's orange in there or not, and I'll just go back over and make it heavier if I need to with another coat. And I'm going now, and I'm doing the bats in black. And that's what you see me doing. I have grabbed a smaller brush for that. I'm going to use what I need for the different pictures on here. And go back over if you need to. All right, so once I've gotten all the yellow and the orange down on the bottom, I'm going to take the paint off of the candy corn, and I'm going to paint, just kind of dot the entire thing in white. I'm trying to be super careful here. I did not have a tiny brush for this, so I have to do a little bit of cleanup on this later, but everything turns out just fine. All right, so the bottom of our candy corn, all those are going to be yellow. I'm going to go through with a little skinny brush and do all that. Then I'll go in with my next layer of orange and do that. Okay, and the white was already white. You know, the top of it was already white. Okay, look Look how good this already looks. And this is with me not using the bridge brush yet, not doing any of the detail work yet. You can see the candy corn looks a little bit sad because I didn't have the proper brush, but it's all right. It can be fixed. Now I'm going to go here in the words. Something easy like the words is where I like to start generally, but whatever floats your boat, right? Okay, so I'm going to go in all those little gaps like we mentioned before. Any little spaces in between there, just take that like you would a marker, dip into the paint. You know, try not to glob it on there. Take a little bit. If you need more than one layer, then do it again. It's just so much easier when you're using black to be careful and be cautious and just add a little if you need to, rather than getting black everywhere and having to repaint. So, look how crisp that looks and look at the difference. Okay, so here are some acrylic markers that I have, and I'm going to use these to highlight, and then I'll be using some to outline. So this yellow that I chose is a little bit brighter than the yellow that I used on the pumpkin's eyes. I love that. It's going to give it some dimension, and you will see that when the project is done. I'm going to take the black and just do my outlining. Now I'm going slow. This is actually how slow I was going to do this. Be careful with your acrylic markers because if you press too hard, it will kind of, the only word I can think of is sputter, and it will spit out a bunch of paint and mess your projects up. Oh no, you don't want that to happen. So just take your time and kind of drag it. Do not push an acrylic marker. No, don't do that. I think I have mine linked in my Amazon store, so if you're looking for some, these are not expensive and they really get the job done. All right, so again, I'm showing you again how I'm doing this one. This one is sped up just a tad, and I'm just going to go over. And look how different that looks, having that outline on there. It really makes it pop. It's going to make a big difference with that candy corn also. You'll see that soon. See the difference? And you can see on the bottom of the mouth of that center jack-o'-lantern how a little bit of black bled through when I was painting it. I just went over the top of it and it looks like a shadow, so we're leaving it. Not sweating that small stuff. No. And look at the difference with the eyes. That just really pops. It really makes it look good. I don't know why that the color scheme right now is reminding me of like the 80s. I don't know what it is about that. And the faces and the expressions of on the pumpkins just reminds me of the 80s. Okay, so I decided I wanted to do white on the spider web for this one. So just to be able to share with you your options, you can see how I do it. Now, if you don't like it, you don't have to do it, right? You can come to my channel and get all the inspiration your little heart desires. And then in the end, if it's not something that you like, if it's not something that's in your color scheme, then you can just do it your way. And that's going to be perfect. Okay, go around the entire thing. I went over it twice so that it was nice and beefy, really stood out. And then I painted his little nose yellow. Look how cute they are. And look at the difference in the mouths and the eyes. Yes. And the candy corn just really pops with the outline. I think I want to add more purple because the little candy rolls that are on there are purple, but you can't see them that well. I'm going to go in here and add some purple hat bands to all of these little ghost and pumpkin witches hats. I'm going over and just doing like a little, like a block it in first to all of them, and then I will color them in. You can see how we're doing it here. Easy, easy. So once it's dried, we're going to address the top. Now, if you're not a bow person, you can totally skip this part. But for a lot of people, you like the bows. And not only that, this is fun Halloween. It's fun, it's festive, and it needs a bow. Just my opinion. Okay, so we're going to start with our first wired ribbon, and we're going to do 8 inches for the first ribbon, 7 inches for the second ribbon, 6 for the third, and the fourth and fifth are going to be 5 inches. We are then going to cut dovetails into each ribbon The two of the ribbons have wiring, one ribbon does not, and then the little candy corn on the black is like a paper taffeta type stuff. I don't know exactly what you call it. So I'm going to stack these up, and then in the middle I'm just going to make an X, which I'll fix that and show you. There we go. I'm going to make an X there. I'm going to use a little bit of thin black ribbon in the middle. You can use whatever you have to tie, some baker's twine, some jute, whatever you have, and scrunch it up in the middle. I'm taking my time, pleating it, scrunching it, and I'm going to put 2 tight knots in there to hold everything in place and keep it from slipping around. And then I'm going to fluff it out a little bit. The beautiful thing about a wired ribbon is you can put some movement in there and it will stay. You can shape it and leave it right where it's at. So I want to be sure that I'm twisting all those ribbons around where you get a good representation of each of the colors and patterns. I'm going to add 2 little bells that I got off a Christmas ornament. They are black, so they're perfect here. You don't have to do this. You could do buttons, you could do some little pom-poms, you could do a sticker in the middle, whatever you like. But I thought, hey, that's different. But you know, when they say, I'll be at your party, yeah, I'll be there with bells on. Well, look, here's our party, and there are the bells. Yes, that was corny. That was candy corny. Okay, enough of my silliness. Okay, so I'm just going to glue this down on the top. How to play around with that bow. You know me and my bow fluffing. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, and here's my candy corn. We're going to add that right up to the top. This came from Dollar Tree. I noticed they do have them again this year, so if you can find them, these are really nice. I will cut another piece of that thin black ribbon to make a tie for the top, a hanger. I'm going to just push this through with a little floral pick. Push it right on through there. I'll slip the loose ends through the loop, and then I'll tie a knot, and we have our hanger. Oh my goodness, yes. If you want a chance to win one of these beautiful transfers with these 3 sheets of goodies in there, then I want you to put down in the comment section, I love candy, and then tell me exactly what your favorite Halloween candy is. Yes, tell me what your favorite candy is. It is going to take me about a week to collect all the names of the people, and then I will randomly draw them. Look in the description box below for all of the information you're going to need for this giveaway. Once again, thank you to Essential Stencil for sending me these goodies and inspire me to do these fun Halloween DIYs. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I would love it if you would subscribe. Give me a thumbs up so that I know that you're enjoying what I'm doing, and doing so also tells YouTube that I'm putting out quality material for you guys. That will help me to continue working from home to bringing you all of these unique ideas for Halloween and throughout the entire year. If you've enjoyed this video and found it interesting, fun, or you like the information that we have here, feel free to share this video with someone that you care about. Here's that beautiful truck. Oh, I love that so much. Our little kitty cat house. Y'all, in the end, I took a little bit of white paint on a stiff brush and flicked it all over there. And it looks like Twilight. Oh, I love it. And here is our festive fun party pumpkin. I think of all the ways that I am going to use the products that I got from Essential Stencil today and the other things that we're going to be making for Halloween with the same pieces, and I cannot wait. I have so many Halloween videos already that I would love for you to check out. We do have some fall that I'm going to mix in here and there, so be watching for that. Good luck to everybody who puts their favorite candy down there so you have a chance to win. I thank you again so much for spending your time with me today. I thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!